Welcome to First But Last, brought to you by the Wyoming Humanities. I am your host, Emmy DeGrappa. Wyoming is called the Equality State because we were the first to give women the right to vote. 150 years later, we wonder what Wyoming women think about the progress toward equality now. Let's find out, and thank you for listening. Today, we are talking to Mariann Foster. She is the owner and operator of Bighorn Mountain Alpacas, which is located at the base of the Bighorn Mountains in the rolling foothills of Parkman, Wyoming. Welcome, Mariann.
Hi, nice to be here.
Tell us about your journey to Wyoming.
I was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, the youngest of six, and I love the mountains. And so when I graduated from college, I got my bachelor's, master's, and part of a doctorate in teaching. I came out here and stopped at an exit in Gary Owen, and there was a race, and I just stayed the next day. I'm a runner, and I won the race, and the people directing the race were school board members, and long story shortened, I took a job in Montana on a reservation as the reading specialist. And so I just have always wanted to live out west. I love it. I haven't left since. That was in 2000, I believe.
So you came out here to run in a race? That was your journey to the west?
No, actually, just taking a trip out west was my journey, but there just happened to be a race the next day. It was like fragile hinges, how everything happened. At a gas station, I stopped at, and one of the people working there said, "You look like a runner." And I go, "Yeah, I am." "Well, we're having a race tomorrow." And I won the race and got a job basically from that. Well, I got an interview, not just a job, but the school district people were running the directors of the race. And I go, "Yeah, I'm looking for a teaching job maybe out here." And they go, "We have one, reading specialist." And I go, "Well, that's what I am." So stayed for the weekend, got the interview, got the job, went back, sold my home, and moved out here.
Wow, that was all very serendipitous, wasn't it?
Right.
And you worked on a reservation. What was that like?
I loved it. I loved the kids and the people. The administration turned over frequently, like, a new superintendent every year. And that was kind of frustrating and hard to deal with, I guess, in some ways. No consistency. But I still love the kids, and I live not too far from where I taught, so now they're older and have their own kids, and it's fun to see them and still be in their life.
And what was your journey and your inspiration to start Bighorn Mountain Alpacas and leave the teaching profession?
Well, my daughter was born. I was married at the time and had a daughter, and I knew right away. Well, even when she was still inside, before she was born, I thought I really want to raise her and be with her. And so I knew I wasn't going to do daycare. So we went through those years, and I knew I was going to be homeschooling her. We just loved living on a farm, and she could be part of farm births, and just so much learning can happen. It's like school all day, and I just love being with her. So that was it. I didn't work again after my daughter was born.
Well, it sounds like you work a lot because you have your own business.
Right. I actually feel like I do work more hours in a day, but then it's never really working because I love it. I love teaching, but not as much as I love being at home and being a rancher and a fiber artist and being a mom and a homeschool teacher.
Right. So you're all those things.
Yeah.
You're a stay-at-home mom, you're a fiber artist, and you're a rancher. And when did you start working as a fiber artist? Where did you learn that art form?
Yeah, I just was self-taught right when my daughter was born. I thought, okay, I probably need some more income coming in. So I was going to either buy a woman's fitness center, because I've always been into fitness and running, that was for sale in Sheridan, Wyoming. And it was either that or I started thinking about alpacas. And I knew pretty quick. I didn't want my daughter growing up in a gym, like we'd have to be there 5 a.m. to dark, watching the place. I thought, no, I'd like her to grow up at home where it's relaxed and she can sleep in. And so I looked into alpacas. I didn't know much about them, and bought 7 alpacas. A pregnant female was the main part of our herd. And then I had to make money off it. So the plan was to sell the offspring, but I knew my weakness, but maybe it's my strength. also was that I get really attached to these guys when they're born. And I thought, I don't want to make a living selling these alpacas. So I'd rather make a living shearing them and making things from their fiber. So they can live here their whole life. I can have what I like is getting to know the animals and bonding with them. And my daughter can have them as her fur family pets. And then I thought, well, I need to make money. So I'd YouTube like how to spin and card. And I got a grant at one point to study the coarser hair from alpacas that farms were throwing away. And so that was cool. I could buy a big double-wide electric carding machine and some equipment. And I just needed to turn in the results. And so basically I use, and hopefully I help the whole industry to use all the fiber from the animals, from the coarsest hair, which are dryer balls, alpaca dryer balls. That's what I do with them here. And Western alpaca hats I make. And then the softer fiber I spin and make things that are could be worn close to the skin, like hats and scarves, and pretty much just self-taught.
That is amazing. And that takes a lot of determination to want to learn a skill like that and actually do it and make a business out of it.
Yeah, thank you. It was kind of a passion, so it wasn't hard. It took work, but it was fun the whole time.
So you mentioned earlier to me that you're a national class runner and that's your other passion in your life. What does it mean to be a national class runner?
Well, I'm 49 now, so I'm not as fast as I used to be, but I went to college for running, and then after college, I was trying to qualify for the Olympic trials. I never quite made the Olympic trials, but I've run a 2:56 marathon several times, and 35, 54, 10K. And when you put your times on a chart, I wasn't world class, but I wasn't local or regional. I was national class, and I had a sponsorship through Brooks Shoes and Power Bar, and I got to travel around the country, made some prize money, and, the sponsorship helped me travel. And I just love to run, so I've kept up with it, even though I'm not as fast anymore, because I'm almost 50. But I still go to local races, and that's pretty much my competition, or how I compete now, is just local races. And I run with my daughter. She's 13, but this will be her 5th Bighorn 18-mile trail run finish this year. She's been running that. And so that I just run with her just for fun. We go to the Montana Women's Run. And when we go to shorter races like that, I can run out ahead and compete knowing she's fine. She's back there in the crowd and she can compete at her pace. So we enjoy that. Yeah, I ran through my whole pregnancy. So every day but one day, even the day I did, 2 days after my due date, I was still running, and she ended up very healthy. She crawled when she was born during that Apgar test. She crawled actually across the table. So we've been blessed to be healthy.
Yeah, you've already passed that on to her. Well, here's another thing. We are celebrating Wyoming as the first state to give women the right to vote, and we are called the Equality State. Do you feel that it's a true statement and a depiction of our state that we are the Equality State?
It's hard for me to answer because right about when I moved to Wyoming, I was living in Montana, just not far down the road. When I moved to Wyoming, I was self-employed. That's when my daughter was born. And what I'm doing, I don't see any discrimination or anything, but it's probably just what I'm doing. I don't have a boss or anything. I'm just my own little world out here. I did see it in the West when I taught in Montana. I did see discrimination in the gender equity, I guess, as a coach. I had coached college in the East, cross country and track. And then when I moved out here, it felt like it was 10 years behind. I guess that's the only way I could say it, is 10 years behind, like rules and Title IX and all that. So I did see like girls getting less meal money on trips, girls not getting cross-country uniforms every year when the boys did. But again, that wasn't Wyoming, so probably exists here too.
How do you impart wisdom to your daughter about the role of women in our society?
I think just trying to be a good role model is the biggest thing. Like, you can tell kids things, but if they see it, it's going to mean something more to them. And I try to take her to events where she can see strong women doing things and being successful. And for her, she's very kind and compassionate. And I think, be kind, compassionate, work hard, and then don't care about what people think in the world. If you're doing those things, being kind, compassionate, working hard, be yourself.
Mariann, how do you define success? You've done so many things successfully in your life. What do you look for in the future?
Boy, success, I don't know. I guess I'd say, well, I'm a child of God. I would hope God made me and hope he's proud of me. I try to, be a good person as much as I can and try to be a good mom, which that's easy because I just love my daughter so much. So I guess that would be successful, just trying to be a kind, compassionate person first, and then everything else falls into place. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Somehow that does work itself out. But I love that your business is a way of life and that you have a farm with alpacas and rabbits and geese and ducks and chickens and cats and horses. And it just sounds, mm-hmm. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah. And we have 8 livestock guardian dogs too. Yeah. I have to say that's part of our family. It's my daughter and I, but we live with 8 very large dogs. That's like our family. They're our livestock guardian dogs, but they also help us. My daughter and I cut all our own wood for heat. That's all we use for heat. I was tired of propane bills, so I just don't have one anymore. For 3 years, we go up and we make that our vacation. Like, let's go cut some wood. And the dogs help us. We trained them to pull a sled, so we're dog sledding, and we're just enjoying life. And we like when I can tie it in. Like, we have the 8 Akbash Great Pyrenees dogs, and they help us, but they also produce an income. I brush them and I spin hair from their naturally shed hair. We make into yarn and it sells. And I like when everything can just kind of all be connected in a positive way.
Wow. You are really doing it. Well, I really appreciate your time and thank you for talking to me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening to First But Last, brought to you by the Wyoming Humanities. Please join us again next week as we continue our conversations with women from around the state. You can also find us at thinkwy.org, where we continue the conversation on our blog about the history, journey, and the challenges of Wyoming's intrepid women living in the equality state. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review on iTunes. Thank you for listening.